German Chancellor Friedrich Merz said some U.S. senators lack understanding of Russia's rearmament campaign, amid concerns Moscow could attack NATO territory. Merz met with Trump in the White House and reiterated support for NATO's 5% defense spending target. Germany has also raised its defense budget to 1.5% of GDP and committed to military dual-use infrastructure projects. Dr. Andrew Freeman, a cardiologist in Denver, Colorado, recommends oatmeal with water and added berries, flax seeds, and walnuts as the best breakfast option to kickstart your day. High in fiber and vitamins, oatmeal can help maintain healthy cholesterol levels, lower blood glucose levels, and promote gut health. Conservationists in Sanibel Island, Florida, have discovered 2 crocodiles exhibiting typical courting behavior, sparking hopes that the island may finally have a viable nest belonging to male and female mates. This discovery comes after years of warming temperatures have led to slight changes in animal nesting preferences geographically, making Sanibel more hospitable for crocodile eggs. The Florida population of crocodiles was listed as endangered in the 1970s, but conservation efforts have grown the population to roughly 2,000. The presence of these 2 crocodiles is a good sign for conservation purposes, and residents are cautiously optimistic about the possibility of a new nest on the island. Milan Kovac, head of Tesla's Optimus humanoid robot program, is leaving the company to spend more time with his family abroad. The move comes amid production hurdles and export restrictions on rare earth magnets, affecting the launch of thousands of Optimus robots this year. An American Airlines flight from Philadelphia to Naples, Italy, was diverted to Rome due to operational limitations caused by the plane's size. The Boeing 787-9 aircraft is too large for Naples International Airport's rescue and firefighting services, requiring a Category 9 RFFS airport. Passengers were bused from Rome to Naples, which takes over 2 hours. A Detroit man, Hassan Rabat, was arrested and cited for a reckless discharge after firing gunshots out the window of a rented Lamborghini Huracan during a wedding celebration in Dearborn, Michigan. The incident occurred on Ford Road near Evergreen, where police tracked down the vehicle at a local hall hosting the wedding. Rabat is currently out on bond, and Police Chief Issa Shahin is warning others against renting high-end vehicles for reckless behavior. A federal judge on Friday denied the American Library Association's request to halt the Trump administration's dismantling of the Institute of Museum and Library Services, citing jurisdictional issues with recent court decisions. The U.S. Navy has gained valuable insights from its exhausting shootout with Iran-backed Houthis in the Red Sea, which is informing its planning for a potential future war against China. With China's advanced weaponry and long-range surveillance capabilities, a clash would be significantly more challenging. The Navy has learned key lessons on air defense, magazine capacity, reloading capabilities, and munitions inventory, and is working to drive down the cost ratio of air defense missions. A commander said that while a fight in the Pacific would be different from the Red Sea battle, the Navy's tactics, techniques, and procedures have been accelerated by the conflict, giving it more confidence in its weapons systems. People who take longer daytime naps, have irregular sleep patterns, or nap between 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. are at greater risk of premature death, according to researchers analyzing data from the UK Biobank Health Project. The study, set to be presented at an upcoming American Academy of Sleep Medicine meeting, found that these napping habits can increase the risk of early death, even after accounting for health and lifestyle factors. Tampa Bay Rays shortstop Wander Franco appeared in court in the Dominican Republic on Thursday, facing up to 30 years in prison for allegedly sexually abusing a 14-year-old girl. The trial began earlier this week, with prosecutors presenting manipulated evidence and the defense arguing against its validity. Franco was having an all-star season in 2023 before allegations surfaced. He is currently on MLB's restricted list. An undocumented Massachusetts teenager was detained by immigration officials while en route to volleyball practice, but has since been released from ICE custody, according to CBS News Boston reporter Anna Myler. The 17-year-old's release comes amid concerns over the treatment of migrant youth and the impact of immigration policies on young people's lives. Details of the detention and subsequent release are being investigated by authorities. Scientists have observed a historic turnaround in Antarctica's ice sheet growth, with a record-breaking gain of approximately 108 gigatons per year between 2021 and 2023. However, the climate crisis is far from over, and scientists caution that the gains could be attributed to unusual precipitation patterns linked to rising temperatures. The answer to Saturday's Wordle puzzle, number 1449, is reuse, a 5-letter word that can be utilized for at least a second time. The game refreshes daily at midnight local time and offers an archive of over 1,400 previous puzzles for paid NYT Games members. New players can access hints and previous answers to help them solve the puzzle. JP Morgan has warned new graduates that accepting a future-dated job offer within 18 months of joining will result in termination. The policy aims to protect confidential information and make internal career advancement more attractive, following CEO Jamie Dimon's criticism of talent poaching. Nicole M. Baird, a Wichita art teacher, was arrested and charged with 4 counts of unlawful sexual relations with a student over 16 at her school, where she taught art. A judge set her bail at $50,000. She posted bond and is awaiting next court appearance on June 16. Israel's Netanyahu announces backing of armed clans in Gaza to save lives of Israeli soldiers, amid criticism and accusations of looting aid convoys. NASA study suggests that the planet K2-18b might be hiding life. Astronomers detected a sign of 2 molecules swirling in its atmosphere, which on Earth are produced only by living things. However, new findings suggest that the search for biological activity must continue due to potential issues with the data and models used in the original study. The lead author of the April study believes that the new research is very encouraging, but acknowledges that more evidence is needed to confirm or rule out life on the planet. A new analysis has been submitted for peer review, exploring 650 types of molecules to find potential biosignatures. Despite concerns raised by some scientists about the methodology and statistical significance, researchers agree that pushing forward with research contributes to a healthy scientific discourse. Todd Weaver, CEO of Purism, argues that assembling smartphones in the U.S. is not only possible, but also profitable. Despite experts' skepticism, his company has made it work and secured government contracts. The challenge to Apple comes as President Trump threatens tariffs on imported iPhones unless they are made domestically. Animal control officers discovered 101 dogs living in cramped conditions at a Raleigh, North Carolina home and removed them. The dogs are undergoing medical assessments after being taken to shelters. Several dogs were found with matted fur, skin, and dental issues. As Las Vegas's tourism industry slows, casinos are laying off table game dealers amid rising travel costs and economic uncertainty, with unemployment rates reaching 5.9% in the metro area. A cybersecurity researcher discovered an unprotected online database exposing over 184 million records, including email addresses, passwords, and login links. The breach is tied to major platforms like Apple, Google, Facebook, Microsoft, and even government and financial services. Experts warn that this is a cybercriminal's dream working list, posing significant risks of fraud, identity theft, and more. Mortgage rates have dropped this week, with the 30-year fixed rate falling to 6.85%, according to Freddie Mac. The 15-year fixed rate has also decreased to 5.99%. Economists attribute the decline to uncertainty surrounding government trade and economic policy. While affordability remains an issue, some experts predict mortgage rates will stabilize by mid-2025. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un's goal to repair the damaged destroyer has been met, with a team using aerostatic balloons to refloat it. The 5,000-ton warship is expected to be repaired at a dry dock in Rajin Dockyard for 7 to 10 days before being made ready for sea trials. A team of doctors and experts recommend 5 simple habits to add years to your life, backed by scientific evidence. These include daily exercise, eating a balanced breakfast, incorporating colorful plant foods into your diet, snacking on nuts, and prioritizing social connections. President Donald Trump has launched an investigation into his predecessor, Joe Biden's mental acuity and executive actions, including the use of autopens to sign pardons. The move is seen as a significant escalation in Trump's targeting of political adversaries, and could potentially lay the groundwork for arguments that Biden's actions were invalid. Sandy Martinez, a single mother, is taking the Florida Supreme Court to challenge excessive fines of $165,000 for minor code violations that have left her financially crippled. The case highlights concerns over unconstitutionally high fines imposed by municipal code enforcement in Florida, with similar cases filed by others across the state. At least 4 people were killed by Russian strikes on Kyiv after Ukrainian drone attacks deep inside Russia, prompting Vladimir Putin's vow of retaliation. U.S. President Donald Trump announced that a decision on the next Federal Reserve chair will be released soon, with former Fed Governor Kevin Warsh considered a front-runner for the position. A recent study found that dentures made of acrylic resin release significant amounts of microplastics during simulated dental procedures, posing health risks to patients. Researchers urge updating clinical practices and enhancing waste management strategies to address the issue. Jeffrey Epstein's lawyer says President Donald Trump had no damaging information against him, contradicting Elon Musk's claims that Trump was on Epstein's list and that the files were withheld to protect him. The White House defends the big, beautiful bill despite criticism from Republicans. U.S. Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. announced plans to accelerate approvals for rare disease treatments, citing concerns that the U.S. risks losing its position as a biotechnology leader to countries like China. The FDA is exploring ways to streamline the approval process for these therapies, which are seen as crucial for treating serious conditions. A newly emerged image appearing to show China's J-36 sixth-generation tactical jet parked on the ground has sparked interest among aviation enthusiasts. If legitimate, this would be the best front view of the aircraft to date, providing clear proof of the canopy design and further confirmation of a side-by-side seating arrangement. The image, taken with a long lens at a distance, shows the large size of the jet, which appears to have a hybrid design between a heavy fighter and a tactical bomber. Visual anomalies in the image could be due to glare or camera manipulation, but the overall design looks legitimate. The J-36 has been observed flying from Chengdu's main plant in China on multiple occasions, and additional secure hangars have been built to support the program. A non-native aquatic species, the rusty crayfish, has been found in the West Fork Little Thompson River in northern Colorado. Native to the Ohio River Basin, it's thought to have been introduced by anglers and can outcompete native species, alter habitats, and disrupt ecosystems. Officials are conducting surveys to determine its population and urge the public to report any sightings. The state requires watercraft inspections to prevent invasive species spread. The Russia-backed Wagner Group announced its departure from Mali, leaving behind a Russian mercenary presence in the West African country. The Africa Corps, a rival force to Wagner, is set to take over, shifting Russia's focus from fighting alongside the Malian army to training and equipment provision. As Apple debuts iOS 26 at WWDC next week, reports suggest 3 iPhone models, iPhone XS, XS Max, and XR, will no longer receive the update. Additionally, 4 Mac models, 2020 MacBook Air, 2018 MacBook Pro, 2018 Mac Mini, and 2017 iMac Pro, are also expected to lose support for the new operating system, primarily due to their Intel-powered hardware. Despite these drops, users with up-to-date devices can look forward to a feature-rich iOS experience. The U.S. State Department has issued a Level 3 travel advisory for Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, due to crime and kidnapping risks. Cruise passengers are warned to stay alert and avoid using dating apps while in port. Western military experts say Russia will take years to replace nuclear-capable bombers lost in Ukrainian drone strikes, straining a modernization program already delayed by Western sanctions and production challenges. The U.S. assesses that up to 20 warplanes were hit, with around 10 destroyed or damaged, while Russia denies any planes were lost. Replacing the planes will be challenging due to the aircraft's age and the lack of spare parts, making it unlikely for Russia to meet its production targets in the coming years. A Transport for Wales train, traveling at 80 miles per hour, collided with a farm trailer at the Norden Farm level crossing in Herefordshire, causing minor injuries to 6 passengers. The driver of the tractor involved in the accident telephoned the signaller before using the crossing, but the trailer was struck by an oncoming train, leaving it wedged on the front of the train. A sharp sell-off in U.S. Treasury bonds due to President Trump's tariff war with China could lead to higher mortgage rates affecting U.S. homeowners, as China may retaliate by selling off its $1.32 trillion in U.S. mortgage-backed securities. Mortgage lenders are bracing for potential disruptions to global financial markets. Indian gold dealers are offering steeper discounts amid a domestic price rally that has weighed on demand, with prices near record highs. The discount surge comes as Chinese and Asian buyers also struggle with high costs, forcing them to cut back purchases. Tech mogul Elon Musk posted a reply to a social media post from Bill Ackman, signaling a potential truce with President Trump after an all-out verbal spat. However, signs remain that Musk is far from ready to make nice, as he continued to criticize Trump's policies and legacy. The feud escalated over the House bill containing Trump's main legislative agenda. Judge Arun Subramanian warned Sean Diddy Combs to stop making eye contact and nodding at the jury during his trial, threatening to bar him from the courtroom if he continues. Grant Hardin, a former police chief and convicted killer known as the Devil in the Ozarks, has been recaptured by law enforcement after a nearly 2-week-long manhunt in northern Arkansas. He was serving lengthy sentences for murder and rape before escaping from prison on May 25th. A massive search effort involving bloodhounds, officers on horseback, drones, and helicopters finally led to his recapture on June 6th with the help of an elite U.S. Border Patrol team. Hardin is expected to face further investigation into how he managed to escape, including questions about verification procedures at the prison where he was being held. A new report from Fidelity shows that most Americans are struggling to save for retirement, with average 401k balances ranging from $13,500 for Gen Z to $249,300 for baby boomers. The data highlights the importance of consistency and persistence in retirement planning, rather than timing the market. The NASA Perseverance Mars rover uses a specially designed maze, known as the Sherlock Calibration Target, to calibrate its scientific instrument and ensure accurate detection of organic compounds and minerals on Mars. The maze is part of the rover's 7-foot robotic arm and helps refine wavelength calibration, monitor laser focus, and test spacesuit materials. In a shift from its previous stance, Japan is proposing a mechanism to reduce the 25% U.S. auto tariff based on how much Japanese automakers contribute to the U.S. economy. Japan's chief tariff negotiator, Ryosei Akazawa, is in Washington for talks with U.S. officials, aiming to find a middle ground and expand trade cooperation. Dollar Tree reported record earnings this week, driven by an expanding customer base. The company's sales have increased as more Americans seek affordable products and changing consumer habits shift towards discount retail. With over 31,000 daily crossword players, Americans are seeking entertainment amidst economic uncertainty. The FBI has arrested 2 Chinese nationals accused of smuggling a fungus, classified as a potential agro-terrorism weapon, into the U.S. to study at an American university. An expert warns that this is part of China's efforts to kill Americans and target the country with bioweapons. The couple allegedly received funding from the Chinese government for their work on the pathogen, which causes severe health issues in humans and livestock. During Sean Diddy Combs' sex trafficking trial, he asked the courtroom sketch artist to soften his appearance, saying he looks like a koala bear. Combs has pleaded not guilty to 5 counts of racketeering conspiracy and sex trafficking. He faces life in prison if convicted. FBI Director Kash Patel accused former FBI Director Andrew McCabe and then Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein of committing illegal activity as part of a disinformation campaign. Patel, speaking on Joe Rogan's podcast, claimed they had written down evidence that was later found by him. He said that crimes committed could be prosecuted beyond the typical 5-year statute of limitations, is linked to an overarching conspiracy. On Sunday morning, correspondent Mo Rocca visits the newly renovated Folger Shakespeare Library to explore why William Shakespeare's plays remain popular 400 years after his death. Maureen Dowd joins Rocca in discussing Shakespeare's enduring appeal, while actor Patrick Page talks about his one-man show of Shakespearean villains. And This American Life host, Ira Glass, discusses the controversy surrounding his past comments on Shakespeare. Coco Gauff claimed her first French Open title, defeating top-ranked Aryna Sabalenka in a thrilling 3-set match, 6-4. This victory marks Gauff's second major win and her first Grand Slam on clay since the 2015 U.S. Open. The FDA has issued a high-level recall of Costco's egg products due to a salmonella outbreak that has affected dozens of people in 7 states, with 21 hospitalized. The recall covers over 1.7 million eggs distributed between February and May, and consumers are advised to dispose of or return the recalled eggs. U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance has tried to calm down tensions between Elon Musk and President Donald Trump, calling for a truce after the billionaire's bitter online attacks on the president. Musk had criticized Trump's spending package and accused him of concealing information about Jeffrey Epstein, prompting Trump to call Musk crazy. Vance hopes Musk will return to the fold, but says it may not be possible now that he has gone nuclear. The U.S. Department of Justice is suing Maine over its policy on transgender athletes competing in women's sports, following a lawsuit filed by several college athletes who claim the NCAA is violating their Title IX rights. 7-time gold medalist Simone Biles has publicly criticized conservative pundit Riley Gaines for her stance on the issue. New details have emerged about a man accused of attacking Jewish demonstrators in Colorado, while also delving into the world of ultra-high net worth individuals with Evan Osnos. The suspect is facing charges for allegedly targeting protesters at an event promoting tolerance and acceptance. Meanwhile, Osnos explores the lives of billionaires, including their philanthropic efforts and personal struggles. NASA's 2001 Mars Odyssey orbiter captures unprecedented view of Arsia Mons, a 12-mile-high volcano on Mars, revealing details about the planet's atmosphere and seasonal changes. The image shows the cloudiest of three volcanoes in the Tharsis Mountains, taken from an angle that allows scientists to observe dust and water ice layers. A large Russian drone and missile attack targeted Ukraine's second-largest city of Kharkiv on Saturday, killing at least 3 people and wounding 21 others. The strikes damaged residential buildings, killed civilians, and sparked concerns about the escalating conflict. Ukrainian authorities accused Russia of trying to sabotage a planned prisoner exchange, while the Kremlin denied any involvement in the incident. Gilmar Abrego Garcia, a Salvadoran immigrant mistakenly deported back to El Salvador, has been returned to the United States to face 2 federal criminal counts related to alien smuggling and human trafficking. He was initially held at a notorious supermax prison in El Salvador before being returned to the U.S. to face justice, where he is expected to be held in pretrial custody due to concerns about his potential flight risk. Actress Jessica Williams is receiving praise for her role in the Apple TV Plus dramedy series Shrinking, alongside co-stars Harrison Ford and Jason Segel. A recent set visit revealed the behind-the-scenes magic of the show, which has gained a devoted fan base. The Turnpike Troubadours return with their new single, On the Red River, inspired by frontman Evan Felker's personal journey, following the release of a surprise album, The Price of Admission. Since breaking into the music scene in 2007, the band has released 6 studio albums and took a hiatus before returning in 2022. The Russia-backed Wagner Group is leaving Mali after more than 3 years of fighting Islamic extremists, but a Russian mercenary presence will remain. Despite this, Russia is developing the Africa Corps as a rival force. The Turnpike Troubadours, who returned with a new sound in 2022, performed their song Heaven Passing Through. The band has released 6 studio albums since 2007 and took a hiatus before resurfacing. Frontman Evan Felker's personal journey inspired the group's latest release, an album titled The Price of Admission, which includes Heaven Passing Through. The Turnpike Troubadours performed their latest single, Nothing You Can Do, on CBS News' Saturday Sessions, showcasing the band's new sound inspired by frontman Evan Felker's personal journey. Released in April as part of a surprise album, The Price of Admission, the song marks a new chapter for the 6-time studio album-releasing band, who returned to music in 2022 after a hiatus. The Turnpike Troubadours have released a surprise album, The Price of Admission, marking a new sound inspired by frontman Evan Felker's personal journey. After a hiatus, the band returned in 2022 and will make their first national TV appearance in an interview, discussing their whirlwind ride. Grant Hardin, known as Devil in the Ozarks, was recaptured Friday after escaping from an Arkansas prison 2 weeks ago. He was serving decades-long sentences for murder and rape before being apprehended near Moccasin Creek with help from law enforcement officials. Travis Decker, an Army veteran suspected of killing his 3 young daughters, is being hunted by over 100 police officers. The iconic American airship is celebrating a century of flight, with CBS News taking a ride aboard the Goodyear blimp to mark this milestone. Furniture maker Milliken Knoll preserves stories of unique pieces in new archive space. Award-winning chef Aaron Bludorn has become a standout on Houston's dining scene with his elegant yet down-to-earth restaurants combining French and Southern flavors, featuring his 4 establishments. A new federal report highlights critical flaws in California's high-speed rail project, including missed deadlines and budget shortfalls, prompting the Trump administration to consider revoking $4 billion in grants. CBS News Israel reports that Israeli authorities have retrieved the body of Thai hostage Natapon Pinta from Gaza, where he was killed during a Hamas attack on an October 7th kibbutz. The recovery comes amid renewed military operations in the territory. Grant Hardin, who escaped from prison nearly 2 weeks ago on rape and murder charges, has been recaptured less than a mile from the facility where he broke free. Authorities say Hardin, known as the Devil in the Ozarks, is now being held back behind bars. Kilmar Abrego Garcia, a Maryland man mistakenly deported to El Salvador's notorious Supermax prison, has been returned to the U.S. to face criminal charges amid tense ICE raids in Los Angeles. Former Tesla CEO Elon Musk and President Donald Trump are locked in a social media feud over the president's massive spending bill. Republicans fear the fallout from their public disagreement as they try to avoid being associated with the controversy. Texas is bracing for powerful storms that have caused flooding and triggered tornado warnings. Meanwhile, the U.S. Homeland Security Department has completed its largest ever drug bust, seizing a record amount of illicit substances. The stormy weather is expected to worsen throughout the day, while authorities are working to unravel the details of the massive narcotics operation. Merrill Hoffman, 63, experienced a sudden cardiac arrest while walking to work on Manhattan's Upper East Side in October 2024. Thanks to the quick actions of 2 Memorial Sloan Kettering nurses and a bystander runner, her heart was manually kept beating until an ambulance arrived, increasing her chances of survival. Hoffman credits the life-saving efforts of Sabrina Castle and Gianna Fornisano with saving her life, and the 2 nurses have become close friends since their initial meeting. Kilmer Abrego Garcia has returned to the U.S. after being mistakenly deported to El Salvador 3 months ago, facing federal charges of conspiracy and human smuggling. The indictment alleges he was involved in an alien smuggling ring that targeted children and women over a decade. Leaders such as Senator Chris Van Hollen and Congressman Glenn Ivey have called for Abrego Garcia's return, citing due process rights and constitutional concerns. U.S. federal judge Claudia Wilken approved a landmark settlement allowing colleges to pay athletes millions of dollars, marking a seismic shift in college sports, 11 years after a significant blow to the NCAA ideal of amateurism was dealt. Tom Cruise has set a new Guinness World Record for performing 16 burning parachute jumps from 7,500 feet, surpassing all previous records in the Mission Impossible franchise.